introduction to the world of equity valuation, along with what are the various needs for which we do equity valuations, and what are the various methods that are available to do the equity valuation. So this is purely a non-numerical kind of a coverage, wherein we are purely looking from the process perspective as well as the basic understanding of the world of equity valuation. Whenever I talk about equity valuation, a valuation is a very interesting word which talks about identifying the value of equity or identifying the true value of equity, or what is the real worth of that particular equity. That is what is the definition of valuation. Finding out the true value. There are various mechanisms to find out the true value of the equity security, and that is what we are going to look at as a part of this session. So whenever we talk about the various valuation things with respect to any equity, we are coming up with a process saying, okay, when I talk about equity valuation, I am saying what is the worth of this company? What is the worth of this equity investment? What is the worth of the share if at all I have to purchase one? So what we do for that is you understand the business. What is the business in which the company is operating? So based on how you understand their business, you do some predictions about how the company will perform in the future. And based on that, you choose an appropriate valuation model, and using that model, try to arrive at a value. And once you arrive at the value, probably you can make your decision in terms of buy, sell, hold, or any such kind of decision. So before we understand a little bit more into it, a few more definitions that are worth understanding here are, we always use a word called intrinsic value. Intrinsic, otherwise called as true value or probably inherent value, right? What it is if I know complete details about that particular company, complete characteristics of that investment, based on that I give some value to it. This is worth something. We do it in a regular day-to-day world also. Let's say I want to buy a television. There are different ways of finding out the value of that television. Understanding the various components of that particular television, what are the kind of benefits that they can generate, how long will that particular television have non-repairs, to what extent it can give me a satisfaction, what other costs I can save once I buy a television. There are so many things I can very well look at, and based on the entire characteristics and the cash flow savings associated with that particular product, savings or extra returns associated with that particular product, if I am able to find out how much is it worth spending for that, we are calling that as an intrinsic value, inherent value, the real value of that security. So I am not doing any comparison with competitors or anything there. I am going in depth into the understanding the characteristics of that particular investment, and what is the kind of benefit or cost saving that particular investment is going to provide to me. Based on that, I am arriving at one value to that particular investment. That is what we call as the intrinsic value. Now, every analyst has a different perspective of looking at the characteristics of a particular product. So, every analyst generally comes out with a different intrinsic value. So, whenever it is not the same as the market price. See, television, I may perceive that it is worth 40,000 bucks, whereas someone else may perceive, yeah, 50,000 is also good enough for this. Whereas someone else may say, no, with this kind of features, 30,000 itself is more for this product. That is what we are calling as intrinsic value. So different analysts, different interpreting people perceive the price of that particular product differently based on the understanding, the level of understanding they develop about that particular investment or about that particular asset or security. That is what we say the intrinsic value differs from analyst to analyst, and whereas the concept of this intrinsic value is really good for a security which is traded very much publicly. Whereas on the other side, we are talking about another definition called market price, which is the price at which it is available in the market. It may or may not be the same